It's 5:27 on February 20th, 2026. All right, look. Today is, according to the astrological calendar, and the planets and the stars, a special conclusion to the last few days, okay? Because at this particular time in astrology, certain things happened in the planets, in the positioning of the planets, okay? And that is significant because even way back in the times of like the pyramids, when they made the pyramids, you know, if you look into the pyramids, they discovered over time that they were so exactly and precisely positioned that certain things would happen, like only on the equinox and the sun and stuff, how it would shine, and a lot of stuff, okay? And they said that it just seems to be impossible that they could have known this kind of stuff, and for them just to make it by coincidence is like there's no possible chance of that. Okay, it's just like entropy. Okay, you can take a deck of cards, for example, all right, and they can be all in order, okay? Ace, which is like number one, then deuce, which is like number two, then 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to jack, to the queen and the king, and you have it broken down into spades and clubs and hearts. And okay, you can have your all deck all in order like that, okay? But then when you go to shuffle them and you shuffle it all up, okay, the chance of it coming back in order like it was, no, it has to be put in order, okay? The deck of cards has to be put in order. And the chance of you shuffling that deck so many billions of times, however, billions of times that you want to shuffle it together, okay, the chance of it going back in order, okay, according to the way that it goes, like ace, deuce, 3, and 3 of clubs, or and the different ones like clubs, hearts, jacks, or clubs, hearts, spades. And I can't remember if there's another one. Seems like there's 4 of them, but I know there's at least clubs, hearts, and spades. Haven't played cards in a long time, but to get them back in order, okay, it's like an impossibility, okay? And no matter how many times you shuffle them throughout all eternity, for that deck of cards, just by random shuffling, for it to go back in order is not very likely. It's actually like so unlikely that it's like impossible. And that has to do with entropy, that things tend to fall apart. not come into order, okay? It takes intentional design, all right, and consciousness to have some things put in order. And that's why in the cosmology and stuff like that, for things to be put in order seems to be intentional, not random. Well, look, so that's why human beings have come up with a concept of intentionality. All right. And so this is a special time, okay? Because in this time, I'm not really, real big into astrology and stuff. Like, I like to listen to it and everything because I think it's pretty cool. But I'm not like Sir Isaac Newton or anything like that. And these scientists, I listen to them, okay? Because science is one of my captains, like I already said before. First I had Jesus, and then I added to my list of personal captains, Sun Tzu, and then because of course I was in the military, and then Jesus and Buddha, and then Buddha. And, I kind of had this, like, epiphany or something, I thought after my dad died, seemed like, something told me that he was now learning from the Buddha. Because Buddha is kind of, like, pretty close to quantum physics and science and stuff, too, But anyway, that's besides the point. Look. I just think there's a special time right now, and this is 20th, from what I understood, from when it first started, coming to my awareness that this particular time frame right here, planets and stuff were in line and stuff for certain things, for certain reasons, and one of the reasons, and what they call it is. And I'm not sure if this comes from the Chinese zodiac or what. But they call it and this might be from the Chinese zodiac, I'm not sure. But they say that we have left Aquarius. And when I was a little kid, all right, I remember listening to this song, in my dad's Volkswagen, when I was sitting in it, and it was lifted up in the garage, and I got to stay in it after they lifted it up and everything. And he left the radio on while they were changing the oil or something like that. And I was listening to the Age of Aquarius, and I think we're in the Age of Aquarius for a long time. But now we're in the Age of the Fire Horse. I think we're in the Age of the Fire Horse now. And I think it might last for a long time here. I'm not sure. Because, they just don't come and go. But we're in a time now because, AI and everything. And seeing a lot of, people you can't tell if you're looking at them if they're actually real people or if they're AI generated images, And it's not all bad. And now people have personal companions that help them think about stuff, and they're AI driven. And AI has super intelligence, and AI is actually smarter than a person. Okay. But, AI can't, for example, just come and make something like I just made, which I'm going to show in a second. I made it for my granddaughter, Arden. I made it for you, Arden. Hopefully someday you'll see this, I guess, and look back on history. Okay, and now, look, that is the thing, all right? We always got to look back on history. And one of the things about history that I've been thinking about, is the fall of the Roman Empire. Because it seems like, America could be falling also right now. And descending from, democracy into autocracy. And from a democratic republic to a dictatorship. And Rome was a republic. And when a republic and a democracy, just like America, okay? But Julius Caesar, was so what time I'm at 9:29, 9:30, 9 minutes and 30 seconds now. All right, so Julius Caesar, he was all right, but he got criticism because the Senate was thinking, some people in the Senate were thinking that he's too much like a wannabe king kind of. Well, Okay, you can read the story of Julius Caesar, okay, and like Shakespeare, he did a thing about Julius Caesar, okay, he did a play about Julius Caesar, okay, that's why you know this story is very important and to be paid attention to, because if we don't pay attention to history, we are bound to repeat it. You have to learn from history, okay? One of the biggest things I learned from history, okay, is, you know, the fall of the Roman Empire. And so the way it happened, you know, they conspired certain people, which were actually the closest people to Caesar, okay? Caesar was betrayed by people that he actually helped and even you know gave second chances to. He was somewhat magnanimous. I guess he could be considered a magnanimous person, but in spirit. But as so were a lot of them were, and that's what Mark Antony said. Okay, after Caesar got betrayed, you know, and he got stabbed like I think it was 23 times, and by people in the Senate, you know. They killed him, and they killed him because they said that he had ambition. Like an ambition is like a bad word, okay? Ambition is it's not just like trying hard, okay? Okay, ambition in this sense is like being ambitious for self-serving causes at the expense of other people. All right, and oh man, and but so they tried to set him up at first, offering him like a crown, and seeing if he would accept it, and he wouldn't accept it, and but in Mark Antony's speech after he got killed, he referenced, he said these noble men. He's talking about these noble men, you know, that actually killed him. Okay, well at first, you know, and the way he played on it is, you know, first he's calling them noble men, but actually after he recited everything that happened and everything that they did, and with retrospect to, you know, Caesar, his actions, you know, was he really ambitious? And you know, well, it comes to then you find out that when he's referring to noble men, he's actually meaning it like just the opposite. He started out calling them noble men, all right, but by the end of his speech to the people, you know, you find out that when he's saying noble men, he ain't talking about noble men. He's talking about just the opposite. When the last person to stab Caesar to death, you know, because he was stabbed, like I said, like 23 times or something, and was Brutus. There's a couple of different Brutuses, but this Brutus was one of his, you know, kind of like dearest friends, kind of, you know. But he was sucked into the conspiracy too. And the way that it happened is, okay, you know, okay, the famous words were etsu, last word, okay. He said Brutus was the last person to stab him, you know, and before he stabbed him, he pulled his sword out. Brutus did. He pulled his sword out to give the final stab, like up into the belly. This is a garbage man, because he comes early. This final stab up through belly into the heart, you know, like that, to kill him. He said, "Et su brute, et su brute." That's how you say it in Greek. Because this is the Roman Empire, right? Et su brute, you too, Brutus. Betraying me, you too. You also are gonna betray me. First opening words of Marcus Antony. The first words in his speech, you know, or something like evil, or our evil deeds, or something like this, follow us after we are gone. And that's exactly what happened, okay, to the Roman Empire. Because they were trying to get rid of like what they were considering to be like a wannabe king, and which in actuality, you know, it doesn't appear that Caesar was a wannabe king. Oh, but he was you know, somewhat of like a sovereign person, but he respected the republic, and it just so happens that he had a will, and in his will, okay, even though he's a rich person, you know, just like Trump, become a rich person in public office, and because a war hero. Well, Trump's not a war hero, but Caesar was. Okay, so certain people, you know, actually are brave, and they're not cowards. Okay. But there's a big difference between Trump and Caesar, that's for sure. Okay. One thing though is that, you know, Trump's a wannabe dictator, but I don't want to go into all that right now. But they killed him, and then they actually got it. Okay, then the next guy who came along, you know, was actually Caesar's adopted son, and the story goes on and on. But you know, Octavius, who was then later called Augustus, because August means, it's not like saying you're a king, but it's like almost like you're a king, okay? And he took that title to himself. And you know, then, you know, he went to war, you know, and then there was civil war, and he was not like he was what they called an unremarkable person, but he prevailed. And Mark Antony, you know, never betrayed Caesar, but he aspired to power after Caesar's death. And then, you know, pretty soon, you know, him and Octavius, who became Augustus, you know, went to war, and there was civil war in Rome, and this is how the Roman Empire fell. And then Bathsheba, you know, Caesar and Bathsheba had a thing, and then Bathsheba was captured, had to kill herself, and it just goes on, okay? And the point is that our deeds follow us. That's why we should do no harm. Try to do no harm. And don't ever make it so that the word's going to be applied to you. Et su brute. You too, Brutus. All right. And that is called the Ides of March, because it took place because Caesar was told by this, like this person who you consider to be like a fortune teller or a soothsayer, or, a person who is in touch with, what the planets and everything say. Okay. She warned Caesar, and even Caesar's wife even had a dream. Okay, so he was warned, but he didn't pay attention to it because his noble spirit, said that, I don't know if it was Caesar or if it was Mark Antony who said that, a coward dies 1,000 times. It's better just to die once. But if you're a coward, you die 1,000 times. And so, Caesar was never going to be a coward. And so he died with honor. He's a noble person, in spite of what other people said, all right? Hey, I feel like, like my own self, like, okay, like I looked on Facebook, and I see my own kids, except for one of them, removed himself from being in being like I looked at my profile because, strange things happen, okay? Like I didn't, well, first of all, I got like kicked off YouTube, like my TV told me I had to re-sign in and stuff, and something happened to my Facebook. Okay, I was looking at it. I can't remember the exact thing about everything, but things happen, and it makes you wonder. And so I was wondering. And I was looking at my profile on Facebook because I haven't really been paying attention to it much, especially after I lost access for like over a year to it. And because my phones get stolen from me and stuff like that, and I couldn't log in, and then now it's like with a lot of things, you have to actually have two phones because they give you a barcode that you have to scan. You have to have two phones in order to scan it, because you can't, if they send you a barcode on the phone that you're using, you can't like scan the barcode from a phone. You have to have two phones. So I got two phones now, but I used to have two phones also, and something happened which I ain't gonna go into. But look, so I've seen that my two children, Adam and Amber, are no longer listed as family members. I didn't remove them, and so that disturbed me, because obviously, somebody did that, and it was intentional. It just don't happen because it just don't happen out of the blue. I mean, there's as much chance of that happening as there is for shuffling the card deck and having everything go back in order. All right, but not being talked to sometimes can hurt, okay? It's where, in this term, ghosted, okay? See, you can be ghosted. A person can be ghosted, all right? It means other people just cut them off and act like they don't exist anymore. That's what Bathsheba went through, okay? They tried to psychologically like torture Bathsheba. Octavius did, okay? And there's a lot of stuff about that that's very interesting, but that's what Bathsheba happened to her for about 10 days, before she actually was able to kill herself. And but the thing is, and all the people, all the like 23 or all the different people that, I'm not sure it's 23, they stabbed him Caesar like 23 times, but I don't remember, I don't know if there's 23 senators, each took one stab, or, you know, maybe, I think they, history says that when they were stabbing Caesar, you know, they sometimes even miss and cut each other. But anyway, okay, look, it's 25 minutes now, so I don't want to like go past 30 minutes, or not much past 30 minutes, but it's a special time, and you know, that soothsayer told Caesar something about the Ides of March, and that is the middle of March, okay, like March 15th. Look, oh well, look, Bonnie was just licking, look. I don't know if you can see him because I can't see what I showed. But as Bonnie was licking Sally, Sally's got a growth coming out of her eye, and sometimes Bonnie licks that for her. But remember the Ides of March. Okay, what that tells me is, you know, remember history. And for Caesar, you know, if he would have paid attention to that soothsayer, man, he might have not been killed. He might have been killed under different circumstances, but you know, the point is, you don't want it to be said to you yourself, you know, et su brute, coming from Caesar, you know. Caesar gave in his will, he gave like every Roman citizen, you know, like money, okay, and donated all his gardens and everything like that, and so he did that, and that action, everything turned the heart of the people, you know, against Caesar's murderers, and every one of his assassins suffered their own fate. Some of them fell on their own swords, so that they wouldn't have to suffer really the hard way of being, you know, like tortured. Well, look. I made this. To my darling Arden. Love, Grandpa. And okay. I hereby W Bomba Rose, and that means you learn to Bomba. Eh? Okay. I sanded it. I had to sand it down. That's because I sanded it on the back, because I had a bump, because, you know, I had to make this from different parts. So that'll be transparent too, once I. Hey. That'll be transparent too once I put another coat on it. Okay. I had to sand. I had to sand the edges and everything like that. But I made this for you, Bamba. Arden. I made this for you, okay? Even though I know you're not even like a year old yet. You might be approaching like a year old. Pretty good, almost a year old. And yeah. I think it's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, really showing it off. But look, I made this over the special time, the fire horse, the advent of the fire horse. And I'm not really a good drawer, but when I get more money and stuff, buy more equipment and everything, you know, more epoxy. I'm gonna try to make a horse, and I'm gonna make a fire horse, because this is a special time, okay, in the astrological calendar. This is the time of the fire horse now. We live in the age of Aquarius. Now we're in the age of the fire horse. Okay, I could be kind of wrong and stuff. I don't really know, but I just know that these last few days are supposed to be like a special time, concluding on the 20th, when today's the 20th. And I woke up early with at least one mosquito bite, and I just felt that it was important for me to say, okay, because I was thinking about the Ides of March. Ides of March, Ides, I-D-U-S or I-D-E-S, Ides of March. And that's when, you know, because we're approaching March. It's important to remember, okay? Et su, Brute. Try not to do any harm. Because, like Mark Antony said, you know, if you do, it will follow you. Even after you're gone. And that's what happened to Rome. The Roman Empire fell. These senators thought they were killing Caesar to free Rome from the tyranny of Caesar, okay? For some reason, evil entered their hearts, and they conspired together to kill him. In his last words to his last traitor friend, Et su, Brute. You too, Brutus. It's time to go forward. But you know, there's a special day coming up in March too for some reason. I don't know what it is, but special time. I know your dad's birthday is the end of March. But my other son's birthday is coming up in a few days. But see, they removed themselves from me. I didn't do that to them. And I took care of my kids as a single parent when they were little, alright? I sacrificed my life to take care of them. But, you know, I've made mistakes too, so. Mistakes in parenting, mistakes in my own life. Things follow us, you know. And you have to say to yourself, you know, Et su, Brute. I'm just gonna call this one Et su, Brute. I love you, bye.